We have a pretty good indication of the appetite, let's say, even though it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. You're only as good as your last, what they want is just what was successful last year. But we look at, a lot of different kinds of projects. Is it cast driven for the most part, ArcLight Films? Yes, that's the kind of yes. If you're looking at sales companies, the difference between, let's say, Europe and North America, I think that probably the easiest distinction between us is usually that it's much more of a cast-driven kind of companies and projects, as opposed to the European-based sales companies that I guess they look for more auteur cinema. I'm sure it's a very daunting exercise to go through all those companies and then decide who really you're going to go after and when and how. I find that timing-wise, if you've got a project and you want to come to ArcLight, I think, 2 months before a market is probably like the best optimum time to contact a sales company, because we're now looking for movies to bring to that next festival or market. So that's our priority at that time, is to look for new projects. If it's 3 weeks before and it's a finished film, yeah, still good. Although it's still a little late because we won't be able to book a screening room. However, most sales company, I'm sure we're not the only ones that do this, we actually, we book extra screenings just in case we find something at the last minute. So, we've got slots that just for that, just in case a film comes in at the last minute. So sometimes when we take a project or a movie to the market, we don't necessarily think that it's going to have sales at that time. But at least it's now, it's been put on a list of, we've got to follow this movie. And that's something that we work with the producers with. It's like, look at this movie, the promo's great, but this is not gonna sell the movie in this marketplace, but it will make sure that those distributors, your buyers, are there to screen that movie when it does get completed and it will screen somewhere. Like they will track it, which is where festivals and come into play, because a lot of the bigger film, you're always saying that, well, this is a potential can, or it will be showcased in Toronto, or it's going to get to Sundance, and most of the time they don't. And even the films that do get to those festivals, they don't always sell. Sometimes what happens is that there's a disconnect between who you think you're marketing to. We're marketing to buyers. We're not making a campaign for the public, and that it will always change. Once you get that film to a distributor, they'll tweak it. They're going to tweak it as well. They'll completely change the title. They'll completely change the whole concept of the film. If it's being released in Asia and they don't want the supernatural element to come through, or more, they want to tone down the horror or whatever, or that actor doesn't mean shit, but yet, I don't know, the dog in the movie does. It just, it really, so, but we are working with producers trying to get what we believe, after all of the hours that we've spent with the distributors, what we think is going to, get them excited about the film.